Okay, so then we will move to item N, acceptance of any gifts of money or materials.
We still had several gifts this month from the Booster Club and the PTOs, but typically we, unless they're very significant contributions, board policy, they're basically affiliates of the district, and so we don't necessarily recognize those. But two that were received by the district that I think are noteworthy are the Ho Chunk Nation for the Native American Diversity Week contributed $4,000 to make that a successful event. And the Toma LIEC, through their fundraising, et cetera, and LIEC is the local Indian Education Council, raised $527.50, again, to be used to help offset the costs of the Native American Awareness Week, the Diversity Week. And, on a side note, several of the board members, went to the powwow. It was fantastic. It really was probably one of the best I've ever been to. And I did go to some of the mini powwows, the mini sessions at Wyville, and I learned more at the mini session than I had learned in my whole career here. So several, we all got gifts and so on, and the gifts I received were just, the medallion was, there's a triple medallion, was beautiful, and the Pendleton blanket was just phenomenal. And Joan's out there, and again, some just wonderful comments and praise, and I thank you.
You're welcome. Although I did not get a gift. Just kidding.
We need a motion.
To accept the gifts, yes.
So moved to accept with lots of thanks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second then to accept the gifts from the Ho Chunk Nation and from the LIEC for our Diversity Week. And very well used gifts. It's a wonderful week, and I know the activities were great again. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Any other information to bring forward, Bob?
No,
I have one.
Yay.
Well, kind of. Mr. Grovestein gave me an assignment, and it was a very difficult assignment. On behalf of my former high school teacher, Mr. Falstead, who will just love this point, because he said, you will always have to write a report someday. And I wouldn't write one, and it was the worst grade I ever got from the Toma High School. Here's my report. When I searched about Thomas B. Earl, I found a couple things. If I had done good work, that will keep my memory green, but if not, all the statues of the world will. This was his parting quote as a high school graduate of the class of 1928. Mr. Earl was a standout in this class. Football, 2, 3, and 4. Basketball, 2, 3, and 4. And he was the captain the 4th year. Track, 2, 3, and 4. District champion on the 1 mile run. And that's what you were referring to, Mr. Grovestein.
Right.
Class president for the 1st and 2nd years of the school, high school. Commerce Club, 3 and 4. Hammett staff, 4th. Honor Society president, his last year. Carnival attendant, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Honor Society play, 4. I learned in my intense research Mr. Earl seems elusive. He was born in November of 1910 to Mr. Lewis and Margaret Bury Earl. His father is believed to be the oldest native-born resident of Toma. He had 2 brothers, Dr. W. W. Earl and Lewis H. Earl. According to Mr. Hindon, his good friend was Robert Cupper, someone else we all know for his generosity donations to our school district in the alternative education program. Mr. Earl worked for Briggs & Stratton. Briggs & Stratton, founded in 1908, is one of the world's largest manufacturers of air-cooled gasoline engines for primarily outdoor power equipment. The Toma High School displays a plaque in his honor as the district champion for the 1 mile run, and what I had learned was that he was not one to seek out attention, but he was one to pay attention to those that meant a lot to him or made a great impression on him. Our school district was first honored with this gracious gift in 1984 when he gave the school district some of his Briggs and Stratton shares. At that same time, he also donated an equal number of shares to the local organization that provided support to our handicapped community because he himself dealt with the speech impairment. Mr. Earl arranged for an out-of-state firm to leave the trust to this community. Mr. Earl passed away in 1986 with no heirs known, and I'm still searching. His estate planning included monies towards our school district and our community. We can only acknowledge the generosity of this gentleman whom his classmates knew him as Tom. That's what I have.
That's really wonderful.
Outstanding.
Very nice.
Thank you, Joan.
So he was an incredible individual, and I'll tell you, in my spare time, and those of you who know me know I have no spare time. I spent a few nights in the Toma Library, and we couldn't find much. I also went to the Toma Museum, and they let me know that if I find any more, to provide it to them, because they didn't have hardly anything. And probably one of my greatest resources was Mr. Hinden himself, when actually he contacted the Toma School District when Mr. Hinden was the superintendent, and said, I would like to give this to the community. And so, yes,
Great guy.
he was an incredible individual that we really don't know a lot about, but I haven't stopped. Now I'm intrigued to find more. And I got our local Toma Museum also interested in learning more, so that we can do something.
Well, that's great.
So, yes.
That's something else.
So that's all I could come up with, Mr. Groves.
You did well.
Oh, you did great.
Possible to get a copy of what you do have. I mean, not tonight, Joan, but somewhere down the road. You're still researching, so
I am still researching, yes.
let it be.
You're
But
in
that's-
a row, right?
But that's great, because ever since I've been on the board, Frank Andrews would appear, and then Thomas Earl. And, I asked questions and nobody knew anything about him except for that plaque in the basketball hall got a record there. 550, is it?
Yes, something,
Yeah.
yes.
It's track. But he was in other sports too.
Yes, he was an incredible athlete based on the different ailments I looked through, so, yes. And then, beyond that, his graduating class was incredible. I mean, the class of 28 included individuals like Howard Rasmussen. Those of you who are from this community know him well. Like I said, his friend was Mr. Cooper. There was many others that were in that same class. It had to be a spectacular group of individuals that came out of the class of 28.
That's
I was
terrific.
just impressed.
Terrific research.
So
Thank you for doing that, Joan.
Just
That's
starting.
wonderful. Yeah.
this became a separate project.
Well,
done,
that's
yeah.
great.
Yes.
It's important to know the history behind those gifts that we receive. It's just, we have to
There's so much
acknowledge that and appreciate it.
Sure.
We just do.
Yeah.
My grandfather graduated in 1928, but not from Toma. Sparta.
You don't have to say
So
that
it
word.
must have been a good generation.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
Yeah, thank you, Joan.
Oh,
I
yeah,
tried.
he did.
It seems like
Well,
there's
you
much
did.
more.
Probably played
Yeah,
against
well,
Tom.
I'd like
Probably
to
ran
get a
against
copy.
him. I think he was in track.
And certainly the museum will want that too.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
they do.
Well, thank